Hello, everybody. It is your Uncle Fish back again for School Fish Art Stream. J-Man wants Gatling gun on the end of his tail. Oh my goodness. J-Man says the tail's where you put all the heavy artillery. Yeah. Said he used to have a howitzer on the end of his tail. I forgot to put myself on. How about that? I had everybody else on. I didn't have me on. What kind of geriatric nonsense is that? Anyway, welcome back to the show, everybody. It is your ever-loving Uncle Fish back again with the nighttime stream. This time we are on with Joe Solis and Sarah Childs, the creators behind Malia Mayhem, a book that I personally really enjoyed. I think is really cool. I'm excited about it. Tell them a little bit about the book, guys.
So Malia is actually based on my wife here. So we used to own a shop here in New Braunfels, and Malia was the mascot, and we kind of worked together to design her. And Sarah put aspects of her in there. Why don't you tell them the aspects you put in on her, dear, that mirror you?
Well, let's see. When I was younger and went to conventions, I would wear cat ears a lot. So she has the cat ears. I have, my most nerdy area is board gaming. So that's why, it's centered around board gaming. And she, of course, has the big D20 on her shirt. Her gloves, like I had little fingerless gloves that I would wear all the time like that too. Her shoes like kind of resemble Converse shoes. I would wear Converse. Then her name, not her superhero name, but her actual regular name, Malia Marinelli. Malia is my middle name, and Marinelli is my mom's maiden name. Then let's see. We reference in the comic the grandparents' house, and the grandparents' house is modeled after my grandparents' house, and it has the actual location of their house in the comic book. And there's a grandmother and grandfather who come into the picture at some point, and they're modeled after my grandparents, who both recently passed away, actually. So it's kind of yeah, thanks. It's so it's kind of like a tribute in a way. It started before they passed away. We had planned on, having the house in there and my grandma and everything, and then my grandpa. But we kind of turned it into this upcoming issue is going to have a tribute for them in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We actually got the artist to get a photo reference of the house, and that's where you see the characters running towards at the beginning. So it's going to be really cool. A lot of the family members got to see a preview last year when we had the previous artist, and now the new artist. She's working on it as we speak. Actually, she sent me some more inks last night to review.
Oh, awesome.
So, yeah.
Awesome.
So, but yeah, our company, which is actually called Child's Play Games and Geekery, which comes from her last name, just hit 10 years old here in March, because like I mentioned before, we used to actually have a store. So the company was brought up as a retail spot. We ended up selling it back in 2018, and then we kept the name, and always kind of had this in the back of our mind that we wanted to try a actual comic book for her. We used to have a little one-page origin story for her on a big poster up in the shop, and people would always ask, "Hey, are you going to do a comic about her?" And we're like, "Yeah, we hope so one day." And that's when I met your friend and now our friend Chuck Pino, and he's the one that did this. That's why I always tell him I'm going to get a shirt that say, "This is all Chuck's fault," and have his picture right here.
I think we all need a shirt like that. Just for general everyday day-to-day wear. I think we all need a shirt like that.
Yeah, he does have a lot of people that could probably say that they're in this indie comic scene because of him, and we're definitely on that list. Well, are you on that list, or I know y'all are friends, but I forgot the
Oh
story.
yeah, we're friends. He was definitely one of the people that I found early on when I started sniffing around indie comics and wanting to start trying to put my foot out there and get some work in this area, seeing if I could build a freelance career from the ground up again. He was one of the people that I noticed early on that I was like, okay, I want to do what this dude is doing. Like I want to be where he's at. And Luis Rivera was another guy who was just knocking out pages left and right as an artist. And we have relatively similar styles. And I just saw him knocking out all of these cool books. And I was like, okay, like this guy can do it. I want to do it too. And these guys really encouraged me. And like when it got to the point that I actually got to work with these guys, it was a big deal to me. Nobody else in the world may care. I don't care. It was a big deal to me to get to work with those guys because I really looked up to them. Chuck was the editor on my first book of Green Zone, and it just you ain't lived till you've shared a hotel room in a nasty part of town with him at a con. There's a whole load of stories to that, but there might be families watching, so I'm not going to share those. Yeah. Ever since then, my wife goes with me to conventions, and we stay in a much higher caliber hotel now. I don't know why. I couldn't tell. Maybe it was the getting mugged on the way to the manager's office. I don't know.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah, all of a sudden she was just really emphatic that she wanted to go with me, and we stayed in nice places now. She looks for places that I never would have dreamed of, like Airbnbs and stuff. I don't even think about stuff like that. Just so I can clue everybody else in on what's going on here, you had sent me a reference image. Let me darken it up of doing like a cereal box homage cover, which I think is a really fun idea, and putting Malia on there and switching everything out and having a little toy of the troll dude and everything. So that is a really cool idea. So I just kind of lowered the opacity down on that just so I could kind of keep the general vibe for where everything needs to go in my head while I'm working. And then I was playing around with some fonts, and I really kind of liked the idea of this one and turning that O into a little bit of a D20, like not make it all a D20 so that it doesn't read as an O. But what do you think? Do you like the idea?
I think it's great.
Yeah,
it actually makes the O make more sense because Joe and I had extensive conversations about
I had to Google so many cereals for her that I'm like, look, they all end in O's. She's like, yeah, but it doesn't make sense for Malia. Well, it was partially my fault because I was trying to work in the full title, which is Malia Mayhem. And
it was Malia Mayhem O's, I believe, was the idea you came to me with. But I was like, Joe, no.
No. You see?
I understand, and I would want to do the same thing. I'd want to fit the whole name in there, or try and fit Mayhem Bites or something into it. But sometimes you need a good editor that can just tell that doesn't work.
And she is the editor for the book. Yeah, she is a teacher. She's an educator. She's still in education. So if it wasn't for her, nobody would be done talking writing my stories. So
no one would be done talking writing any of our produced stories by our friends either.
Yes, she helps edit our friend's book as well. Well, you met Jesse the last time.
Oh yeah,
she edits Steam Strike as well. So.
Oh man, I am bad about. I are not a good speller. I will tell you that from the beginning. I are not at all, and so I am so impressed with that. Like I have written 14 books, and to be the kid that had a hard time learning to read in the beginning, like I'm really impressed that I've written as many books as I have. And they're, for the most part, as far as I know, legible and people can understand them. But like that wasn't an easily won skill, and I still work on it. And I still make a point of hiring really good editors that are not afraid to hurt my feelings because, like, sometimes you need somebody to tell you, like, Malia Mayhem O's is too long. You got to like cut that down. Like you need somebody that will give you those hard truths when you need it.
Oh, she gives me
I'm
hard
really
truths.
good at
Yeah.
not being afraid to hurt people's feelings.
Yeah.
That's why Joe's my PR person.
Yeah.
I'm like, Joe, you talk to them. He'll be nicer than me.
I'm gonna.
The cereal box idea came just FYI because Malia, the whole idea is kind of based on like an '80s cartoon, and I don't remember we talked about it, but she's kind of one part the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon, and another part Never Ending Story, and with a little dash of Wreck-It Ralph in there. But yeah, that's why I was like thinking of different things like, well, what did in the '80s, what did you get? You automatically got a cereal. You had the Saturday morning cartoon, and you had action figures, and so like kind of going down the line and seeing what we could actually.
Yeah, Joe had to fill me in a lot on the '80s because I was only alive for like a couple years of it.
Yes.
Oh man, I remember getting those like really crappy records that were printed on the back of it and stuff. That was cool stuff, man. They did so much wild stuff over the years. And honestly, it's surprised we didn't choke and die on half of it. But
or
like
childhood diabetes with all the sugar.
Oh man. Yeah, there was very little concern for our health. But started some bad eating habits there early on, but man, it was good. Eating that bright rainbow colored milk and stuff in front of the TV on Saturday mornings, rotting my brain with cartoons that were just a big advertisement for toys. Oh, it was good old days.
Yep.
Rotting your teeth while you're rotting your brain.
Yeah, I was just about to say.
I'm telling you, man, that's good stuff. That's the way it goes back in the day. I do miss the like half-hour long commercials, man. I miss the He-Man and the G.I. Joes and stuff. What is up, Jeff? Man, thanks for dropping in. I miss those good old days. I don't miss I really gotta admit I don't miss like the things like the bad guys parachuting out of the planes and stuff. Like, how are you gonna blow up a helicopter with a missile launcher? And the dude's like, I'm okay, coming at me.
Best parachutes ever.
I'm telling you, man, the most fireproof, laserproof parachutes in the freaking world. Can't nobody hit nothing, no matter how hard they try. It's just sheer chaos, I'm telling you. I would never feel safer than standing in the middle of a shootout between the stormtroopers and Cobra High Command. I could sit there and have a picnic in the middle of that and not be the least bit scared.
Yeah, I think depending on how much time we have before we launch, because I know I told you we were looking at October, but it's still kind of up in the air. Like I said, she's still working on the inks. So for us, since we do this part time, it's the struggle because it's like we have other things going on in our life, so we don't want to stress about it, but at the same time we're like, okay, well, we do have to get this out eventually, so. And this one has been in the works for a while because of artist change and just other things happen. Our artist had some personal things happen in her life that kind of delayed things. So we just kind of go with the flow. And now that we help my friend Jesse, he's going full steam on his project. So he's definitely making sure that we're staying busy regardless. So
that's good. That's good. And his book came out really neat, man. That came out so cool.
Yeah, and then you did that other part real quick for How to Hunt a Hero. My friend Roy actually finished the first issue, so we're working on that one simultaneously too. So a lot of irons in the fire right now.
Yeah, sounds like it. So tell me, like, what was the process like for you trying to find an artist to work on your book? Because that's something people are always asking me about, and I'm like, I can give them the advice I have, but I've rarely ever looked for an artist myself. So, like, what was it like for y'all trying to find the right artist to work on your book?
Well, with How to Hunt a Hero, since Roy draws it, and we're all friends, that one was obviously the easiest one. The first artist for Millia Mayhem, it was an artist that I followed because he used to work for DC, and it was just kind of a bad timing situation. Like when he agreed to do the book, some things happened in his life that really affected his ability to work on it, and
Mm.
and so we just kind of waited as long as we could until we couldn't wait any longer, and just had to switch artists. And that's when we found Carla, who's from Chile, and that was the first time that I'd ever looked at an artist that was overseas, for the same concerns that everybody would have for that type of deal. But the one thing that gave me confidence with her is that she had actually done some work for Dark Horse. Adam Warren has his book called Empowered, and she did a little 3-issue miniseries for him. So and she had it up. I went to DeviantArt actually, which is not a place, ironically, that I go to look for artists a lot at the beginning. I do now, but I just typed in like anime comic book or something like that, and hers came up, and just kind of took a chance, sent the email, explained what we had, and she was very good. She helped get that issue 0 done that we did last year, and I mean she's been great to work with. So in that case, it was following those steps, basically, trying to make sure that you're doing all your checks and balances right, because you're about to hand over a lot of money, and of course every artist is different in their payment system of
Oh yeah.
how they want it done, so then you have to be prepared for that. And but other than that, but now having gone through all that, I try to tell people, like, if you can find like a creator that you follow already, like if somebody was already following your books, for example, and they were like, oh, what do I do? Oh, well, first of all, I'd be like, well, Fish is super easy to approach. Like you can ask him, and you
Yeah.
can,
My
you can.
biggest problem is being busy. That's my biggest issue.
Yeah, but then the other thing is, I try to say, like, find somebody that that you already trust, that is just somebody who's already in this industry, if possible. I know this is not possible for everybody, but
Hmm.
somehow that you can ask questions, or that you can just be like, or you can even tell the artist that you're interested in, like, who have you worked with, who in the indie comic circle that's pretty regular in their like releases, somebody that's getting stuff out, relative to where you can check and see what the work is like, and then reach out to that creator and see if they're willing to share with you their experience with this artist. So
Checking
what,
references is a big deal.
mhm,
Like, not just saying, "Oh, you do awesome stuff. Your stuff looks great. Like, what's your page rate?" Okay, that sounds doable. Like, you need to talk to people that have worked with these people before.
mhm,
And it's usually not that terribly hard because, most of us talk about the books that we've worked on. Like, it's not that hard to go back and check. And, like I've done a lot of issues of the Sentinels for Roy. If you hit Roy up and ask him what am I like to work with, like he's going to give you an honest opinion. I don't even think he would be clever enough to tell you I'm horrible just to keep me to himself. Like I don't think he would think about that right away. But, you know, he'd probably kick himself later, but
mhm,
and I've always told people like I will gladly give you every name of everybody I've ever worked with, including the only guy I've ever had to give his money back to. And you can talk to that guy for 5 minutes and I'll let you decide which one of us was the crazy person. No problem. You can talk to everybody I've ever worked with. Everybody has been, super happy with the final product and everything. And I still count them all among my friends, yeah, except for one guy, but that's okay. That's not the end of the world. There's going to be a few weird ones out there. But
mhm.
again, if I had done my due diligence ahead of time and asked people what it was like to work with him beforehand, I never would have fallen into that problem. But I didn't think to do that, and not everybody's easy to work with out there.
Mhm.
References are a good thing.
Yeah, ask questions, get in the community.
Hmm.
Well, let me interrupt this time with an editing comment.
Okay.
I'm guessing this is your fault, Joe.
Whatever I do.
I don't. I'm guessing you put an apostrophe in there before the S when you gave it to Fish.
Probably. Did you look it up and see it's wrong?
First, I looked at it myself and said it's wrong. And then I was looking up homages on my phone to see if other people put an apostrophe there accurately, but they did not have an apostrophe there.
Okay.
The apostrophe means it belongs to Malia O. So I believe we want it to be plural, so we don't want an apostrophe.
I will not argue with you on that because that's one of the few things that I kind of sort of know. But yeah, I will definitely secede to your authority on that one.
I guess variably, like you could say, no, but it wouldn't. We wouldn't want it to belong to Malia O anyway. Then we would want it to belong to Malia, so that would make sense. So no apostrophe.
The cereals themselves are the O's. It's the Cheerios, basically.
Yeah, we don't want it to belong to the Cheerios.
No.
Easy enough fix. I'm just trying to figure out where I want to put this.
I know Joe did this.
See, you just saw it. You just got a preview of our process here.
The proof first.
Joe makes a mistake, and Sarah.
Sarah calls him out publicly.
Yeah. Public humiliation is in the cards. She says, "We're gonna go live now to see the mistakes Joe did today." That should be your live show.
How many mistakes did Joe make on this? Let's count them up, shall we?
Yeah, they're always saying try to find a different angle on all these shows that are out there. That's your angle.
On this page of the script, you got Malia written as a boy. Come on, Joe, that's day one stuff.
It's like the equivalent of putting me in one of those dunk tanks, and she's got the balls.
But I hit the target every time.
Yeah.
And she's just yeeting big old watermelons at that target. Whack. Yeah. Never stood a chance. That's all right. Wouldn't have it any other way. All right. I do dig the cat ears. That is always fun.
I'm impressed by the fact that you can draw while you're talking because that would be my capabilities. I pretty much have to work in silence.
Oh man, I cannot work in silence. I will go nuts if it's too quiet. I'm already bad enough. Like with my Tourette's, I'm high strung as it is, and when something shocks me, it tends to make me tick real bad, and so like. It's actually messing me up more because our daughter just went away to college, and for so long she's been homeschooling from here. So, she would be in her room quietly doing her thing. I would be lost in some made up universe blasting aliens with lasers and stuff. And I'm all tongue sticking out, drawing and making sound effects and stuff and singing to myself. And I'm lost in another universe. It's just me and the aliens and, Captain Good Guy Man. And we're just blasting the bad guys. And then she has the audacity to walk out of her room just existing in the world and being there scared the crap out of me. And I will just scream like a startled child. And then I get to ticking and everything and she feels bad. And now she's gone. So now I'm like kind of on edge all the time waiting for her to startle me and it never comes, which is not any better. But yeah, I've got to have some distraction. I've got to have the TV and stuff on just to remind me I'm not lost in my own little world. Because I'll get busy working and like forget to turn the TV on sometimes, and then it gets really bad. I will forget to eat. I'll forget to drink or go to the bathroom. Like the day will just zip by, and all of a sudden it's nighttime, and I think it's been a couple of hours. But I've got 12 pages done.
What was that video game we were playing? Life is Strange.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, are you familiar with that video game? Have you heard of it? It's one of those that it's more like a story-driven game than it is action. But it's very beautiful to look at, like as you're following it through. That game made me realize how messed up the Silent Hill and Resident Evil games made me, because the ambiance of that, and like talking about what you were saying about her popping out, that's what it reminded me of. I'm watching her play it secondhand, and I'm just waiting for something to happen. But it's not that type of game. There's no monsters, no nothing. But just the way that they present it, I was like, what's going to pop out? What's going to get her? And nothing ever comes
Oh,
out.
yeah.
You would just be like, oh, I'm living my normal life.
Yeah.
Walking along the road here.
Oh, man. I totally feel you on that.
For the bad guys to pop out of the forest.
Yeah, it never happens.
There was a game on PlayStation that I had that was real super creepy, and it's this little, like almost comically little kid going through the grass and stuff, and it was like a nightmare or something.
Oh,
and,
I know exactly what you're talking about. That's,
it was so creepy and it was so atmospheric, but like it never got like booga 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 scary.
Limbo.
And yeah, that's it. It had me so far on edge all the time because I was waiting for, that giant zombie dude to come out of the corner or something, and it just never happened, and it was worse than if it had. 100%.
Yeah, we had that game on Steam. That game was amazing for the way that it builds the tension, and you're like, what's gonna happen? And you purposely, die over and over. Oh, Jeff says he's been meaning to check out, I guess, Life is Strange. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I think overall you liked it.
Them.
Right? You played part 1 and 2, and then you got like
you
got the expansion or something. But beautiful game, like absolutely gorgeous game to look at. That's why I was so enthralled to be watching, and
pretty cool.
And then we're playing on our big TV. She's playing on our big TV.
It's like a decision-based game. You're basically like just making choices throughout the whole thing to see how the characters play out.
Yeah.
And that kind of thing. But it's also really dark.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the subject matter gets really dark.
It's like let's explore the lives of everyone and every type of trauma that you can experience.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy.
Yes.
Fun times. Yes, let's do this for fun and relaxation. Why don't we? Yeah.
Well, I've seen that meme many times. Like, I need to sit down and relax. And it's like I play the most stressful game you can think of to relax.
Well, if you're having a bad day,
let's put ourselves in a battle zone and get shot at by Nazis. That'll be relaxing.
Or have what was his name, Mr. X, chase you in Resident Evil 2, like all the places he would pop up.
That type of game is great for if you're having a bad day, because you just get on at your rest time and then you relax and you're like, oh man, my life is so awesome. These characters' lives are horrible. Mine's great.
I just have to deal with a crazy abusive boss and stuff. I don't have zombies jumping out at me. Yeah, it's wonderful. Yeah.
Are you familiar with the creator Laurie Calcaterra? She's from Dallas. She does Path of the Pale. She does Path of the Pale Rider.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I went on her show a couple of weeks ago, and I brought you up because we were talking. I was showing off your variant cover. Here, let's pull it out so we can show people what.
Joe has the box of comics beside him.
So people what they missed. Here, if you want to spotlight me.
Oh
so
yeah.
See your work.
There we go.
I was telling her the story about how, I think we were talking. Oh, because she's the writer of her series, so she's like, we were talking about how do you direct your artist while still giving them freedom, and I had told her the story about the bottom image you did there, where I was like, yeah, just have Malia Troll chasing Malia, and you actually added the D20, her chasing it. That was a cool idea to begin with, and then all of a sudden you started drawing the dragon. I'm like, oh my god, I never even thought about that. And you're like, what did you say? You're like, well, you're not going to put a dragon in this story and not let me draw it.
I mean, come on! Like that's the cool part. I want to do that. Like that's one of the most awesome parts of the whole thing.
Yeah. But that was a perfect but that was the point of the conversation with Laurie. It was a perfect example of like coming to the artist with an idea. But if I would have been just like, no, just only Malia and Troll, don't put anything
I
else.
have my idea. It needs to be like this.
Exactly.
And
So,
I've worked with those guys once or twice, and I mean, and like I've worked with some guys, like everybody works differently. Everybody has a different workflow. You know, take this with a big fat asterisk on it. You need to see how your artist and your writer and stuff need to work, how the thought processes work, yada yada yada. Some people do really well with a whole lot of direction on something. I tend to do better with some freedom to put my own spin on it. Like if you tell me what needs to happen and what the big parts are that need to happen on a page, then I can like move that action through my mind and I can turn it around and look at it from different directions and say, okay, this would be a really awesome way to do it. And if I turn the camera just so and I pose them just so, I can get like the action from these two panels in this one panel and make one big cool panel out of it and still hit everything that needs to be hit. But you know, if you want to have, okay, it's 6 panels, they're going to be, you know, they're going to be vertical panels and they're going to be from this angle and this one's going to be worm's eye view and 3/4 to the left and this guy's going to be standing in the front and this guy's going to be standing on the right to the back. I will give you that and I will make it as awesome as I can, but it won't be as awesome as I could have made it.
mm-hmm.
That's the only caveat.
Yeah.
Joe does that part of references for the artists, and he's really good about that because he gives the parts that he wants included, but then it's not so rigid to the point that he's saying every little thing. And I feel like some of that comes with the expertise on you or the artist side too, like being able to implement things that aren't necessarily called out. But then, like, as to your point, it depends on the person you're working for too. Like,
oh yeah,
want to name out every single little detail for you to follow, then you know that's part of their personality.
and some people are real specific about I want this particular thing. Like I worked with one client that was really interesting to work with. He was a map maker by trade, and so like he had everything plotted out by like the geographic locations places were and what the weather was like and which side the sun was coming up from and which side the ocean was on and which detailed like when they had a basket of apples. Like he gave me a lot of freedom, but like when it was a basket of apples, it needed to be this specific type of apple that grows in Russia that's kind of shaped like a soda can. But he told me what it was. I looked it up, realized they kind of look like soda cans. So I didn't draw regular apples. I drew these apples, and you know, and it was kind of fun because it gave me a little bit more restrictions to have to work within than I was used to, but it made me stretch and get better at what I was doing to make sure that it looked like this specific apple and I didn't just cheat out and make it look like a apple. And you know, that they were the right breeds of horses and this, that, and the other. It would have been a lot easier to cheat some things. It would have been a whole lot easier to not have to remember what side the castle was on and make sure things are in the background correctly when the sun's behind us, because you know that's where the castle is. But it made for a better book in the end, and I'm super, super proud of it now.
Yeah, I noticed that with this, like with Carla doing the current pages, I noticed one thing that I got better at on my side was like whenever she does lay out what I was talking about, and I would see something, I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. I didn't think about that. So then I would either adjust the script slightly to what she did, or change the character, like what the character said in what order, you know, because the meaning was still the same in the panel, but you know, maybe I had one character on the left and on the right, and she flip-flopped them, and it just worked out different. But it ended up working out better. So, because like in the first, when she did Zero, one thing that I didn't realize until the letterer did his thing was that there was 2 characters that were on the wrong side, but thankfully it was an easy flip. Like I literally had had him flip it. The letterer was able to do it, and then he put the word balloons in the right spot. This time, as she's been going through, I've had the script open and made sure that I'm looking at it as she's doing it, because this, you know, she always told me at the beginning, like, this is the point where if you need any major changes, let me know before I get into coloring it, you know. And so
Hmm.
that's what's nice about working with somebody that has that kind of communication. And I mean the same thing with you, obviously, um, just even just chit chatting online or just in Messenger or whatever, has always been a benefit. That's why I've latched myself onto you, Fish. So you're not going to get rid of me that easily. I mean, I have your whole library already. I just solidified that concept today with your new Kickstarter. So
Hey, there's worse kind of clients to have than the guys that got your back and are out there sharing your stuff all the time. And you're a great dude to have in your corner, man. I'm happy to have you by all means, and I get to work on cool stuff. So
oh, thank you. We came. We actually were not too far from you this summer. We didn't realize it until after the fact, but we went. Well, she mentioned earlier that her grandmother had actually passed away first, and her grandfather was still living in the summer, and we're trying to get out there to visit him because I mean they'd been together 60 plus years, and it happened to my grandparents too that they passed away very close to each other because of that. So we were like in a hurry to get out there and visit with him. Well, we stayed in, was it Little Rock?
oh man, that's right down the street.
Yeah, because I
Oh,
want to
okay.
say you were like, because you gave me your address to mail you something, and I looked it up, and I was like, you were maybe 45 minutes away, but
Oh
we
yeah,
would have.
Little Rock. I mean, we go to Little Rock for dinner all the time.
We
Like
we
it's
probably, we passed through. We did an excursion in Little Rock on the way down. I can't remember if we stayed in Little Rock on the way back or we stayed somewhere nearby.
I think we stayed at that one that was near the airport that was had the really cool main area that I kept saying this will make a really good convention hotel.
Oh yeah, because it was like a conference area. Or
No, it was huge. It's like so Fish. Imagine like this hotel is near the airport, and like it has all the rooms inside, but they were facing out into a huge open area that you just look
I
down.
went to an anime con there. Yeah,
So
it's
they have had one there because they had
oh
like a
yeah.
bridge that went across both sides. It just it was like I was going crazy. I was like, oh man, I can see the cosplayers in my mind
how do
here.
you know when you're a nerd? You go to a hotel on a regular
This has
vacation.
such great con potential. Yeah,
You imagine
absolutely.
convention.
Mhm.
Might as well put some masking tape on the middle of my glasses and give me a pocket protector because I was
Uh-huh.
thinking the same thing. I was like, dude, you could just like be right there and you could just look down and be. But yeah, I went to a con there and
Oh, nice.
that's where I found out cosplay cons are not for me because like
Mm.
nobody comes to a cosplay con to buy comic books. They come to show off their cosplays and usually they don't have pockets. They don't have any money because they spend it all building their cosplay and
Yeah.
they're coming to show off their outfits. They're not coming to buy things unless you're selling cosplay stuff. I was an invited guest because a friend of mine was putting on the show. So I got to go. I had fun. I think I made $25. And, I got to drive home because it was in Little Rock and I didn't have to stay anywhere. And I think they did stay there for an anime con, though. My wife and the girls stayed there and they just got a room and she could like hang out in the room and just look down and be like, okay, there
Mhm.
they are. They're good and let them have fun and do their thing. And anytime she's like, well, it's been a minute. Okay, they've moved about 20 feet. Yeah, they're fine. And they're just having a
Jeff
big
wants
time with
to
their
know.
friends.
Jeff wants to
I
know anything.
added a bunch of fruit in here because as I was looking at her, I was thinking she totally looks like she would have a strawberry cereal. And then I
Mhm.
thought, like a mixed berry would be really tasty. And so I just kind of threw that in there. Feel free to say you don't like that, but I thought it was cute and I
Yeah.
liked it.
Cute.
So, I mean,
I think it's cool. Well, you got Jeff. I mean, he already wants to try it. So, I mean,
there you
you
go.
hit the marketing already. So,
I'm saying, man, it's a good looking cereal, man. I want to crunch into some of it too. Uh, and that's one thing as an artist that I tend to do because I work particularly fast compared to a lot of people. Like it's just easier for me most of the time to just sketch it out and show it to somebody And like, if you don't like it, then I can absolutely change it and go back to like the panels as written. But sometimes I have ideas for like, if I combine these 2 or 3 panels sometimes into one big one, or sometimes split this one panel into 3 panels and, get this like boom, boom, boom with the emotional hit of the conversation and stuff. Sometimes it's easier just to draw it and show it to you than to spend 1,000 words trying to explain what I'm thinking about and get it across to somebody.
Hmm.
So, all right.
Did we talk about there being D20s that were marshmallows?
Yeah, we had talked about possibly putting some D20 marshmallows in there. I don't know if you can fit a few.
Yeah, absolutely.
Possible, They could. It looks like we got a fruit theme going on, so we could do like those red, and then I guess do a mixture of colors among the different O's here, because we're gonna go for like a Fruit Loop / Lucky Charm / Cheerio.
Oh man. Okay, now if we're doing Lucky Charms, let me throw out, what if we did different colored dice, like, yellow D8s, purple D6? Like, I mean, that just seems like it really goes with the vibe. Maybe you just want to do D20s, but I mean,
that I'm open to that as long as the D20s are red, because it goes with the character, but we could make the other shaped dice different colors.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I just put this is a random thing that popped in my head, but I actually just saw that they're doing, is it the 50th anniversary of Dungeons and Dragons, and they released a dice set that they're metal, but they are representative of the first dice set. So they're just the solid colors, red, green, blue. I wonder if the D20 is red on that set.
Here's a phone.
No, oh yes, I was going to use your.
Here's a way you could find that information on the internet.
Oh yeah, Jesse.
I'm so helpful.
Jesse does that to me all the time. He's like, "Gee, Joe, I wish we had this search function that we could use, that you could find out whatever information you wanted."
If only all the information in the internet was available somehow in a handheld supercomputer. Oh, if only. Like, yeah, I catch myself doing that to myself all the time. I'm like, man, I wish I knew this answer. And my wife's like, did you Google it? And I'm like, quit being obvious. Like I was telling her a story from my childhood, and I was telling her how I had got this obscure, like, Flash Gordon toy from like the old 70s Flash Gordon animated series that came out like around the Star Trek series. And I got this like Lizard Man toy from that toy series. Only action figure I got from it. I was the only person I ever knew that had this action figure. And my brother used to tease me incessantly about it, saying that it was a girl because he had these big bowed up pecs. And I was like, they're not boobs, there's muscles. Shut up. And she's like, and I was like, I never saw the toy again to be able to prove it to him. And she's like, well, did you ever Google it? And I was like, well, no, I quit looking before Google was a thing. And she's like, well, Google it. I'll be danged. It was a female.
Oh,
darn.
I still say they're muscles, but they're absolutely boobs. They were 100% boobs. Kind of wish I'd never Googled it now, because at least I could remain happy in my ignorance.
You should listen to the Matrix. Ignorance is bliss.
I'm telling you, man. God,
yeah, Jeff
I didn't know he was right above everything else. Yeah, and as soon as I Googled it, like, Lizard Man toy, right there, just an eBay listing, picture of it, absolutely 100% a girl.
No question.
Yeah, there's no argument. I had no basis for my argument at all. It was absolutely a girl. I just, it was a cool lizard dude, and I liked having him, like fight everybody and, beat up my Star Wars figures and stuff. And no, I was wrong.
Should we talk a little bit more about the story? I realize we're 45 minutes. I don't think we've told what Malia's about. Why is the D20 exist and all that.
Yeah,
So,
go for it, honey.
so let's see. So Malia is a 9-year-old girl who finds a magical D20 at a Comic-Con, and it transports her to this world called the Tabletopian Realm, basically where all her favorite board games come to life. And so that is the setting for us to have fun with all the games that we've played and enjoyed ourselves. And we added in this mischievous creature called the Troll, who is actually going from game to game and messing up those games from the inside. So in the real world, when her friends are playing it, that's where the phrase, "Oh, this game is broken," comes from. Something's wrong with it. We can't win it for whatever reason. And so we're showing that in the game world, it's actually the Troll messing with it. So that was the template we came up with, even back when we had the store, and it was just, ripe for ideas. I mean, issue 0 was basically a little mini homage to D&D, and issue 1, which he's working on right now, is going to be an homage to Catan. And and we added the the caveat to where she has to follow the rules of whatever game she's in. So if there's no fighting in that game, she has to figure out another way to beat the Troll. And the Troll's goal is simply to just collect all the candy in that world and manipulate some of the other, characters in that world to help him or force them to. So it's just a fun premise, and it basically, we've already talked about ideas for other issues, but of course that remains to be seen how far we get to take it, because people always ask like how long we're going to go with it, and I'm like, well, it has an ending, and we could do the ending in 4 issues, but it wouldn't be as impactful, as if there was
not
more.
doing no ending in 4 issues.
Yeah, so no, I'm just saying, like, it's just one of those stories. That's why I always go back to the whole Dungeons and Dragons cartoon. Unfortunately, they never had their official last episode, even though it was written. I know since then they've done like a radio drama of it and whatnot, and some YouTuber actually animated it. So you can see what it would have been like. But it's that idea that, like, what made those characters so cool is that they did go through so many adventures, and like there's some of the better stories are like when they almost make it home. Like, oh my God, it's Kyron. Stop the stream. Stop the stream.
What's up? He actually got to see a Schoolfish episode. Look at that. Little Kyron Silver from way over on the Pacific coast. It's so good to see you.
Kyron and Fish.
It's probably getting close to your bedtime over there.
Each other.
Oh, what?
Yeah, Kyron is another comic creator. I actually got to go on his show and talk about X-Men. X-Men 97. So
I recall this.
But Kyron didn't know what a D20 was. We all had to school him on it. So.
Oh man.
Kyron 20 is right.
Kyron Aloysius Silva. I'm embarrassed for you.
Might be short, but I'm not little. Well, then you should put the word mighty Kyron Silva in front of your name then.
Indeed.
The mighty Caw with a backup story of the mighty Kyron.
Yeah. Nobody's questioning how tall Caw is, because you got the mighty right there in the name. It's just, if it was the mighty Kyron Silva, you people wouldn't question it, and also I would sue you. But it's well and good.
But yeah, that, like we're saying, like there is an ending to the story, but it's no, I was just saying that in the D&D cartoon, where we get a lot of the inspiration from, the best episodes are the ones where they almost make it home. Like, do you remember an episode that was literally just called The Box, where they find a treasure chest and they have to, like, if they put it down in a certain spot and open it, there's a portal that they can go into and see if it leads back to Earth or not. And of course, a couple of times, Sarah White's here too, another artist. She's from the UK, right?
No, that's Katie. Sarah's from the Michigan, Wisconsin area.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I love that episode of The Box, because it was, even as a kid, it was so stressful. I'm like, oh my God, because they actually find, spoiler alert, but they find the portal to Earth, but it's on a rock bridge, and guess what happens to the bridge in the middle of the episode? Falls, so you can't put the.
That is the cutest sneeze I've ever heard about. That sounds like a cartoon mouse sneezing. Oh my god. I mean, no offense. I don't mean to make you self-conscious or anything. But oh my god, that was so cute.
Oh, Sarah's
I've been
correcting
getting
you.
that my whole life. It's okay.
Oh, it's Wisconsin? Okay. Well, you know.
Gilligan's
I wouldn't
Island-
necessarily be bragging about that, but okay. Okay, Sarah. If you want to show off and say you're from Wisconsin, you go right ahead.
Yes, Fish always tells Kyron that he's secretly rich and has a butler, so that's why Sarah's saying that he has. Sarah White saying that he keeps forgetting that your butler keeps forgetting to remind you.
The butler's got it out against me right now, I think. He's not passing along the messages and stuff.
He's too busy polishing all the silver.
I like that reference to Gilligan's Island.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think when I watched Gilligan's Island, I ever felt like they were going to get home.
Yeah.
I was just like, no, I'm just watching Learned Hopelessness at this point.
Kyron,
I would get so mad. I would get so mad at him for ruining it every time.
Just for you. You see that? See what he did there?
It's daylight savings time. That's what's doing it, Kyron. He's got your butler. Your butler's on daylight savings time side. He's in the pocket of big daylight. That's what he is. That's why he's keeping you mixed up. I'm telling you, if you lived in the same time zone as normal folks, stood out there with the liberal elite, but you know, hey, you do what you want to do with your rich self. Sarah says they got good beer and cheese here, and that's worth bragging about, right? I will say, them fried cheese curds, you got something there. It sounded like chaos in a greasy little cardboard container, but oh my goodness, that is good. That'll kill a fat man quick, but that is good.
Kyron, were you the one that shared the meme? Someone shared a meme that they were like, I question this, that they got lost on the 3-hour tour because somebody did the actual math. They're like, they really shouldn't have gotten lost. Should have just been able to get back home.
Oh man, like they carried an awful lot of stuff with them for a 3-hour tour.
And something about their theory, the professor was trying to keep them there. That's why he was making ridiculous things like coconut radio.
I think the millionaire was on the run. I think the IRS was coming after him or something because they brought their cash, they brought their clothes and their jewelry. They brought everything with them, and that's ridiculous, even for a millionaire on a trip. So that was ridiculous.
So that show predicted Kyron's future. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah. And also, they don't tell you on Gilligan's Island that coconut's a diuretic. It'll give you the diarrhea right there. They would have all died from eating that many coconut cream pies. Like you would not have survived it. I was shocked when I heard an actual scientist, like on PBS, ran the numbers. Like if they actually ate that many coconuts, they would have all like pooped themselves to death. Because you just can't survive eating that much coconut. And you know, I never forgot that for the rest of my life. I was just telling my wife about that the other day. Yeah, the only ones that were they're the only ones wearing the same outfits over and over and over again. Well, I don't know. Movie star had some change of clothes too, but Marianne basically in that one outfit the whole time.
Yeah. To see how long they could survive. Yeah, it's the original Survivor card.
Yeah, people were just a lot goofier back then. They were giving them pretty easy, you know, contests to see if they could get off the island. Their IQs just weren't high enough, you know. And even if their IQ was higher, it couldn't offset Gilligan's IQ. It kept bringing down the curve. That's the problem. See, now, Kyron, you're getting me off subject. I'm supposed to be doing cereal boxes, and you're pulling a daylight savings on me again. You're getting me off track, man. That's uncalled for, dude. Uncalled for.
Oh, heck no, am I going to be with Tom Hanks on his island?
Oh, no.
With you.
Nope. I would rather live in Pretendville.
Yeah.
Gilligan's Island seemed way more joyful.
Yeah. Plus, I would have got to meet the Harlem Globetrotters about Tom Gilligan's Island.
Exactly. All you would have met was a funky smelling, skinny Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
And I don't think he was very fun to be around in that movie.
No.
Yeah, plus, I mean, he might introduce you to his volleyball. And
Yeah.
Never accept an invitation to meet Tom Hanks' balls. That's what she's saying. That is not an invitation you want to take. Bait and switch.
So, Kyron, we're making a cereal box, in case you're wondering. It's going to be a variant cover. Because our character is based off of like 80s cartoons and whatnot. We were talking earlier about like what were the things that we were exploited as children that they kept trying to make our parents buy for us. Toys, cereal.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Cartoons were already there.
Couldn't be healthy cereal.
Oh no. Though I gotta admit, as a kid, my favorite cereal was shredded wheat, and like the big hard, hay bale looking biscuits.
Yeah, the bigger one, not the mini wheats. The actual.
No, not the mini wheats before they were frosted. No, I like the big honking, like hay bale looking thing. Man, I loved it mainly because I think it was my mom's favorite. So because she liked it, I wanted it, and so I developed a taste for it. And now I covered it in sugar. I drowned that sucker in sugar.
You made them frosted before the company did.
Yeah, it was more of a sludge than a frosting. But that milk was thick at the bottom of that thing.
Oh my gosh.
But oh man, those are still some of my fondest memories. I still eat mini wheats to this day. And I remember fondly that gritty sludge at the bottom full of sugar and stuff. Like I would lose a foot now just looking at it. But man, I remember it so fondly. It was happy days.
I say, Kyron, your doctor doesn't even let you eat the healthy cereals. My friends give me crap because I've always eaten the healthy cereals. Well, when I was a kid, I ate the ones we're talking about now. But as an adult, I've always eaten those. So he won't even let you have those, huh?
My kids know all my cereals, and they're still to this day, I'll hear them sometimes say something along the lines of that'll make you poop, because that's what we told them. Like when they were little kids, they're like, "Well, I want bran flakes," and I was like, "It'll make you poop." Like that's why Dad's eating it. So now it's still like, oh yeah, you don't want that one. That's poop cereal there. Now that I just shared all my business out in public.
Oh really, Sarah White making cereal from scratch? That's cool.
Oh,
I never even thought
see,
about
I didn't know that was a
that
thing.
is exactly the kind of hipster nonsense that I would love to do. Like that is the man bun wearing ironic eyewear having. Like I would like to make my own like granola cereal and stuff. Like I would really enjoy doing that. I've wanted to make my own like candy bars. Now I'm diabetic. I didn't get to it while I had the chance.
I know. Once upon a time, I saw somebody make Snicker bars from scratch at home. I'm like, what? That can't be real. What did it say? Yeah, the making the cereal from scratch. That's pretty cool. Of course, Kyron's over here pouring sugar on everything apparently.
That's probably why his doctor said no cereal. He's
Yeah.
just like, okay, listen, we're gonna put sugar on it anyway, so just none of that.
He's like Cheerios says it's heart healthy. He's like Cheerios lied.
They meant that before you pour sugar on.
It was the pound of sugar that you poured on it that wasn't healthy. No, it didn't say anything about that on the box. Yeah, because they didn't expect you to, Kyron.
I imagine he puts the sugar in the box and then seals it back up and then gives it a shake like shake and bake.
Yep.
But for cereal.
That's how Kyron makes his Kool-Aid. Cuts it by the slice. Makes it easier to go down. Oh my gosh. Man. That Kool-Aid. It never even occurred to me as a kid to not follow the instructions. Like, and it's probably because I'm autistic and OCD and stuff. So like I followed the instructions like to the T. And even to the point, like I had to double check every time just to make sure that the 2-quart pitcher was still 2 quarts and hadn't changed since the last time I made Kool-Aid. Even though it's still stained with Kool-Aid from the last time, I had to make sure it hadn't changed because I was so obsessive about, following the rules and getting it right. And here are people just putting a whole pound of sugar in there. And I'm like, man, I could have been living the high life. I could have lost all my teeth years earlier.
Sounds like we have similar characteristics. I would do something like that. My thing is, I will never remember where something is. I'll just look at all the drawers.
Oh yeah.
I've actually kind of gotten better at that, but.
Yes, Sarah White. I do too. Now, I will say I cheat a little bit sometimes because I'm the one that does most of the cooking here in the house. But I will try to do it to a certain point because it's all based, because we have a 3-year-old, so it's all based on speed. So it's like the part of it that I can consider scratch the most important is what I do, and then I might get a can of green beans or something at the end, or some sort of store-bought bread. Something I gotta cheat somewhere because. And I haven't even made like a homemade meatloaf in so long, just because that's an hour to make. So that little boy will not leave us alone for that long.
Yeah.
Oh man, the kids got real tired. Again, because I'm autistic, I really don't have a problem eating like the same foods or the same handful of foods over and over again. Like I could literally have a burger twice a day and be perfectly happy and, never really think twice about it. So my kids got used to, like, once I was doing the cooking again, they got used to the fact that we were going to cycle through the same handful of things each week. And I was going to make meatloaf one day, and then we'd have like meatloaf sandwiches the next day because that meatloaf was the bomb. And I'd make pot roast one day, and then we would have stew the next day out of the leftovers of the pot roast, and go like that. We'd order pizza one day, and then we pretty much were covered. And we'd go out to eat one day, and we'd be good to go. And then I got married, and my stepkids, they did not like that arrangement quite so much. Like they loved the idea of me cooking and them not having to. Until they realized I was perfectly content to do the same thing over and over again. And
Caveman Rumble.
They did not like that. What's up, Caveman Rumble?
So that's a couple of friends of ours. Sarah made friends with them at a gaming convention last year, and they're a couple. They just got married, actually. Was it this year? Yeah.
Congratulations.
But they made a board game called a card game.
Card game. It was a board game convention.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't want to confuse the word gaming convention.
Mm-hmm.
It's not video games.
No, yeah.
All tabletop games.
It wasn't for losers that have to have video graphics in front of them. This is for pictures and imagination. Mm-hmm. This is for the real gamers out there. Bunch of slackers.
But they've actually got their first expansion coming here soon, so pretty excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
And they've got some cute art. He's got this style for the cavemen that's kind of like the Simpsons. They're yellow and they're kind of goofy looking, and they all have their own little personalities. And
you want me to grab a card? I have it right over there.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna be like
give them some free promotion. But yeah, that's one of the things we've tried to keep going even after not having a store anymore. Is like we still try to support, even though we're focusing on comics for ourselves. We still try to support other board game creators when we can. These guys are Texas-based too.
Also,
so
the game.
Cool.
See the front there. This is the base game, of course. The expansion hasn't come out yet. They're working on that. And let me see if I can find some flavorful cards here.
yeah, that's a good.
Okay, baby. Okay, baby.
So that let's see.
Okay, baby's pretty adorable.
Yeah, there's the cave baby.
Yeah, so basically, like you have a whole bunch of different cave people that you use to get other cards.
I like this one.
That are eggs and dinosaurs.
That's pretty representative.
Because the cavemen, the cave people are getting.
Cool.
They're trying to get the eggs and the dinosaurs. So basically,
As one does.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if I can find my favorite dino card.
Okay.
Remember back when I was in high school, it was all about catching dinos and their eggs.
You were just trying to beat Kyron to that joke.
It's my favorite. My favorite.
Oh yeah, Sarah likes the T-Rex, as in it's a little.
Oh, him stupid his little hiney.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a fun game, and our friends.
I want to make a game. I just don't know how to, and I don't think I would make a very fun game. Well, like I really want to do it. Like my role-playing game is fun. I thoroughly enjoy it. Everybody I've played with has enjoyed it, but it's also like extremely based on my imagination. And everybody's like, you should write it down and you should sell it. I was like, I can't, because it's all 100% my brain. I can't be like, okay, this is how I think, and this is how I come up with things, and this is how I decide this is what I'm going to ask somebody to roll. Like, it's just all out of my brain. So that's not really conducive to that. But I would love to make a card game. Like a friend of mine introduced me to Munchkins at a party we were at. Oh my goodness, I enjoyed that game so much. It was so much fun. It was so simple. It was so easy to learn, and
it ends friendship.
It's also
I can't believe it. Not my Munchkins.
Hey, you want we on our pre-launch page for Malio, we need one more person and we'll hit 150. So who wants to be it?
Yeah,
Kyron's it.
We need one more follower. 149 followers currently.
I don't think I can put anything in the chat. Fish, can you?
Oh yeah.
If you just do www.baliamayhem.com, it'll take them straight to it.
MALIA. Wait a minute, I got it written right over here on the cover of the book. Because as I said, I are not a good speller. MaliaMayhem.com.
It's coming, Kyron.
We're getting there.
There it is. Here, this should work. Well, actually,
test it out.
Mine's.
Open link a new tab. Over that.
It might take a while. Yeah, it works.
Good deal.
All right, who wants to be number 150? Let's go, people.
Now's the time to put your money where your mouth is. Time to step up. Talking big talk about being indie comic supporters out there. Looking at you, Kyron.
It's a very low level commitment. It's like you're committing to following the page.
Oh, Kyron knows. He knows all about that. Oops, somebody listened.
Oh,
yay! 150. Thank you, whoever it was.
Yay!
I have never gotten that high, so congrats. Y'all, I do a really lousy job of getting the word out. Like I I totally dropped the ball this time on getting the word out for Fishtails, which is live now on at GoMrFish.com. If anybody wants to check it out, it is out there. But I did a lousy job of getting. We even put off the launch like a week just to say, okay, well, that'll give us time to really, do a big push and get the week. I did no push. I got so busy doing client books and stuff that it's hard to do it all. And that's the hardest part about doing indie comics is that you're usually, a 1 or 2 man team doing everything by yourself. And that's a lot of work.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Luckily, I'm married to a social media addict, so they take care of that part for me because I am not a social media addict. Well, I am like, look at my Facebook and then go away from it.
Well, I was going to quit social media, Fish, but then I saw Kyron share so many memes. I don't want to, it's the fear of missing out. FOMO, it's all Kyron.
Oh, man, I'm telling you. Yeah. Yeah, Kyron will flat share the memes, man. It keeps me busy day and night. He has become like he is above my wife now when it comes time to like forward something. Kyron is first. And then sometimes it's PJ. And then it's like my wife and Sarah coming in for second, who I'm going to forward something to. And
we're at 151. Thank you for the other one.
Let's go. Mm-hmm. That is the way we do. Good looking out, guys.
Yeah, this one I started back in February, so I've been working on it a while. Because originally it was supposed to launch in the summer, but like I told you, our artist had some things happen in her life, and so we had to kind of give her some time to deal with that. But I was like, well, just going to keep promoting, and then we helped Jesse launch Team Strike, and then like I said, we're working on some other stuff with How to Hunt a Hero, and so it's just a matter of what finally. Kyron is bothered by your choice of words.
No, sweetie, I'm not changing that. You are far above my wife, my beloved Kyron. You
beloved Kyron. Well, Kyron's gotten all kinds of titles tonight. The Mighty Kyron, the Beloved. Kyron the Beloved. That sounds better. It sounds more like a Game of Thrones title. Kyron the Beloved.
Kyron the Beloved of Fish. That sounds like some kind of merman character.
Y'all just created a crossover right there.
I'm telling you.
The next Fishtails.
My kids. That's what my kids do when they're imitating me. My son that's in the Army was texting me one day, and Bear was with me in the car, and I was driving, so I handed him the phone, and I was like, hey, can you answer Marcus? And so he gets the phone and uses his stupid dad voice, and he's like, ooh, I love you, my beloved son, and like typing back to him. But like, that's the way I talk to my kids. Like I made a point to try and be as actively encouraging in every way as I could. And some people think it's weird sometimes because like, I call all my kids babe for some reason. I don't know why. I just do. And I would always call my kids like sexy beasts and stuff, but like I wanted to instill from an early age that they were handsome, they were beautiful, that they were worthwhile, they were smart, they were valued, like all these things that we don't necessarily get told. And it's real easy to get negative thoughts in your head if you haven't heard positive thoughts. So, I really made a point. Did some of them end up with egotistical attitudes? Maybe a little bit, but but by God, they know their dad loves them, and that's not something everybody hears. So I'll take it. If some of them are really sure how handsome they are, that's okay. I will take the L on that and be fine.
So Kyron says he's actually deathly allergic to fish. I feel there might be a double meaning in that.
Are you trying to tell me something? This is how you're going to do it. Just publicly in front of everybody. Okay, yeah. Okay, fine. Go ahead. Think I won't make a scene. Think I won't make a scene. Yeah.
And then
I'm
go
going
on
to call
his show.
Jeeves so fast and have him key your Bentley. Oh my God. And don't think he won't do it.
I've been creating that alliance with him for a long time. Just in case. Just in case.
He knows I bought him those Christmas presents. Don't even play. Like, he knows what side his bread's buttered on.
Mm-hmm. Jeff wants to know where it came from. Are we going to put bets? What the full word was? I'm going to choose assassin.
Good one. I can't think of a better one than that.
Try to think of somebody's name that the letter A would start like that. There would be two S's. Is there even?
That's a good question. I gotta think about that one.
Assimilation.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff, Customer Associates Week. That's funny. So yeah, that's literally just one piece of a very large cake, apparently.
Associates. See, I was gonna guess something like that, but I was like, oh, that doesn't make sense.
I thought of assorted was the other one I thought too.
Yeah,
and I was like,
kept thinking of random words.
Yeah, but I was like, I always think assorted chocolate, so I'm like, I don't know what the hell that would work on a cake.
I don't think I've ever drawn cereal before.
I was just about to say, you're doing pretty good at putting the little, what would those be called? The little
pockets, divots, bubbles,
air holes.
I was gonna say, you're giving me flashbacks of you starting to draw the scales on the dragon of that other cover you did for us. So you were just
could be individual grains.
Mm-hmm.
I really feel like I need to get the whole wheat in there. I don't think I've captured the whole wheatness of the O's. And, you know, the moms would never let it get to the shelves these days without
pores.
That's what I was going to think of. The pores of the Cheerios.
There you go.
That's what they're called, huh, Joe?
Uh-huh.
All right.
Now she's going to look it up. There goes Google again. Oh,
it's no fair if you're going to keep bringing out the truth.
I know, right? So this is something that actually happened at Kyron's work. I thought it was something he found online.
Me too.
Instead of pizza. I shared it with my friends, speaking of memes, it was a pizza, but somebody had used pepperonis to make the Rebels Alliance symbol from Star Wars. It said rebellions are built on pizza? ? And I said it was when the Empire gave the rebels that final pizza party that they finally rebelled.
That was the final straw.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just cheese. Like, couldn't even spring for pepperoni. Mm-hmm. That's what really pushed him over the edge.
And the pizza party was going to be held in Alderaan. So, there's a deep cut for some Star Wars fans. Jeff,
funny enough, speaking of pizza, I avoided pepperoni like the plague my whole life because my dad was a beef pizza man. And so that's what we always got, either sausage or hamburger. And I never really thought anything about it, but we never had that weird greasy red stuff on our pizza. So it must be disgusting. And so every time we would have a pizza party at school, like, you know, I couldn't eat that because that was gross. And so they would order like one beef pizza or one sausage pizza. And all the kids that love pepperoni would decimate that pizza before I ever got to it and then go plowing down through the pepperoni. So most of the time when we had a pizza party, I went home hungry because the one pizza they bought that wasn't pepperoni was gone, and of course I can't eat that because that's gross. My family doesn't eat that. I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with y'all, but we don't do that around here. And then one day, I don't know if it was on a dare or what, but like I was, God, I want to say I was in junior high. Like I was way old. I finally tried pepperoni. Man, if my folks weren't divorced, I would have gone home and slapped my dad. Man, I was so irate because all of a sudden, all I can think about is all those pizza parties that I missed out on, all those slices I could have had, all those times I went home hungry when the whole class got to have a pizza party because I was too afraid to eat this delicious, greasy, crispy deliciousness. And oh man, I'm not still bitter. No, I don't know what you're talking about, Joe. Mind your business. I'm not bitter. Oh
Like
man.
You've worked hard to make up for it, right? You're like,
I made up for lost time. I'm here to tell you.
You calculated how many pizzas you were cheated and corrected it right away. You're like, BOGO today? Yeah.
Yeah, I may have overdone it just a little bit. I may have erred on the wrong side of
you wanted to be
that
sure.
calculation. But, yeah, you do the best you can and you move on. Got to be willing to forgive yourself, But, oh, goodness. Man, all the pizza I missed out on. The nice thing, though, the best part was when I lived in Stillwater, Oklahoma, because it was a college town, and so many of the kids were from countries all over the world. The kids that were from America were actually in the minority in most of the classes we were in. Like a lot of our classes would have 25 or 30 kids. There might be 4 of us that were from America, and everybody else was from Sudan and Turkey and Iraq and all over the place. So on the positive aspect, I was never really exposed to racism at that time because everybody was from somewhere else, so it didn't really matter. But oh my God, Pizza Day was amazing because you had to account for everybody's different religious needs. So there was sausage pizza, and there was beef pizza, and there was veggie pizza, and then there was pepperoni pizza. I wouldn't eat the pepperoni, but there was plenty for me to eat because everybody had to have something that didn't have something else in it. And that was the best. That's still some of my happiest memories is Pizza Day at that school. That was good times. Good times.
Do you remember that Ninja Turtles episode where Shredder opened up the restaurant called Weird Pizza, and it was his way to lure the turtles out because he figured only they would order from it. And they all these ridiculous toppings like ice cream on top of the pizza and stuff. I even remember as a kid, I'm like, so far they haven't mentioned anything that I actually want to try.
Oh man, like Shaggy and Scoob with their chocolate peanut butter sardine sandwiches and stuff. I'm like, were they just like, these filthy hippies will eat anything, or like, was it just purely a joke? Like I never. And again, autistic. I probably was missing the real joke of it. Like it was probably just that it was so ridiculous, but it gave me serious concerns for Shaggy. Now, Scooby's a dog. They eat poop. I'm sure he would have no problem with poison himself with a chocolate peanut butter sandwich, but he'd eat out the garbage. He'll be fine, with that sandwich, but Shaggy, I had real concerns for. I was really worried about, like, was he okay? Was he safe? Was he being taken care of?
He's so skinny to begin with. So.
Yeah, that sounds like the sandwich order from somebody that's been eating out of a garbage can. That's all I'm saying. Like
maybe
that sounds like the kid's homeless. Did we ever see Shaggy's parents? I don't think so.
Sarah.
I said maybe he's skinny because of the sandwiches.
You eat like that, I guarantee you that kid's that kid's
the secret tale behind Shaggy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You heard it here first.
The internal struggle that no one knows about.
Like zoinks! I didn't need laxatives. All you gotta do is put chocolate and sardines together. You can eat all you want. It'll just shoot out like Ovaltine, Scoop.
Oh, let's catch up on the chats here. So you're still getting Jeff with these fruits you're making look so good. Kyron, of course, is asking why you couldn't pick the pepperoni off the pizza. I'm assuming because you didn't want to touch it.
Oh, I didn't, and it poisoned it with that red grease, and that had to be gross, because
he's just
it
bringing
just
up
had
my point about pepperoni because
Oh,
Joe tried to feed me pizza before. I didn't know that he had picked the pepperoni off of it. And he put it in front of me like it was a cheese pizza. And I was like, Joe, this isn't a cheese pizza. Joe, I taste.
see, Fish, I went through the trouble of picking out all the pepperoni just for her, thinking I was being a loving husband, and I still can't get it right.
See, like, if you had asked, like, middle school Fishy that, I would have equated that to, like, I dropped your birthday cake in the dirt in the dog turds, but I brushed off almost all the dog turds. I don't see why you don't want a slice. Now I'm like, that's greasy, delicious goodness. But at the time, I would have taken great offense to that as well. And like I've got the sensory issues and the taste issues and stuff. And like I went through a long process because I've always just, my whole life, like I just ate my burgers the way they came. I didn't think twice about it. And then one day after, oh man, what's his name from Good Eats? Alden, whatever. Anyway, the guy from the Good Eats show, he talked about, take your time, go through burgers, try one topping at a time and see what you actually like and what you really enjoy and what you don't, and you'll probably be surprised. So I was like, okay, bet, I'll do that. Turns out I don't really care for cheese on burgers. Like I'd always eaten it on there. And there's some burgers that I still like a McDonald's double cheeseburger, like the manufactured mechanical cheese taste is part of that's part of the flavor of the burger. It'd be like not having the mechanically induced ketchup and mustard on there. It's gotta be in there. But for the most part, I don't like cheese on my burgers because it just overwhelms the flavor and that's all you taste. And so I've gotten to where I order most of my, I order my Whoppers without cheese and stuff, and I like them a lot more now. And so every once in a while they'll get it wrong. And my wife will be like, well, can't you just scrape the cheese off? And I was like, I can, and I probably will if I don't have a choice. But you still taste it. It's still a heavy flavor that just overwhelms everything. And there's no getting away from it once it's on there. It's like, squirting lemon on your fish and then trying to wipe it off. It's still going to taste like lemon. And, if you don't like lemon, that's not going to taste good.
Mm-hmm.
But
I think
so says the guy with sensory issues. So take that with a grain of salt.
I think Karen's gone already, but he said that he figured Shaggy was on drugs and people who are high would eat anything. That's what his answer was.
That's what we're going for.
It could have been. I mean, I will admit there are times I sat down once and ate a whole tub of butter with my finger one time. So you will do weird things in a given moment under the influence of, what have you. But
that reminds me of the butter thing. Did you ever watch that show called According to Jim, starred Jim Belushi?
Oh,
brother.
Oh, don't even get me started on that. I've watched it. I've watched it many times because it came on the those over the air channels, all the main network channels have like 3 other channels that they air to at the same time during the day. And on one of those rerun channels, According to Jim would come on after the reruns I normally watched while I was working, because it's all stupid stuff that I can listen to and I don't have to really watch, and I can get the jokes and everything. So According to Jim came on after that, and I listened to 2 or 3 hours a day of According to Jim. And I'm sure if you're listening to According to Jim like once a week when it comes on normally, it probably seemed like a pretty fun show. When you're listening to like 3 hours of it in a row, Jim's a freaking psychopath.
Yeah,
Like,
that's too much.
he is not right. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention Beam Awards return October 1st. Fish, find out more info on this Friday's Four Tales. I would love to, but I'm going to forget that it's on Fridays because y'all moved it, and I'm going to be sitting there Saturday wondering where it is, and then I'll be like, oh man, I missed it. Oh, I love Four Tales was my favorite thing to do on Saturday mornings, and now I just got to sit there and drink my coffee in silence.
Well, real quick, the thing on Jim was that the brother-in-law had this thing that he did. He would get a stick of butter and dip it in sugar, and he called them Shane sticks because he would do it when he was depressed. So it reminded me of when he said to tell butter.
Yeah, that sounds about right. He was, man. That was a show. I can give it that. That was a show.
Yeah, I guess I enjoyed it more because I only watched it like once a week when it was still coming out.
Yeah, it's much more palatable in small doses than it is, all together like that. It's really hard to take when you put it all in a row like that, and he's just lying and gaslighting his wife left and right, and it all seems funny. That's the thing that I really like. There's a new show that I really want to watch, but I clearly have to like watch it, and I can't do that while I'm working. But it's I think it's Kevin Can F Himself, and it's a dual show. Like when Kevin's in the room, it's a multicam sitcom, and there's laugh tracks, and and he's just the bumbling dad being goofy, and and just saying stupid things like Jim would do. And then when he leaves, it cuts to a single cam drama, and you see the emotional fallout of everybody having to like live on pins and needles around him, and try and pick up after his shenanigans, and and then like the wife suddenly just disappears after a season, and nobody ever hears from her again, like happens in sitcoms, and now she's been replaced with a new girlfriend. And I really want to watch that show because it really steers into all the things that kind of drive me nuts about sitcoms. But also I've been watching them like in big bursts and binging them over the last couple of years, which they really weren't intended for.
Yeah,
I can kind of ruins the appeal, I think, that way. God, I got to talking so much. Oh, I was going to look up dice, so I got these actually correct. That's what I was going to do. I forgot what I was headed over here to do.
Oh, it sounds like, based on my research, that the proper term for the little tiny holes in the cereal is air pockets or bubbles.
Okay. Remember that discussion we had 30 minutes ago?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I absolutely 100% remember it. I remember throwing bubbles out there as one of the options, too.
See, Fish knew what he was talking about. And I just knew that pores are things in your skin.
Mm-hmm. There are rocks, too. What's the one that has pores in it?
Oh, boy.
Yeah, you go Google that for the next 30 minutes.
I will, thank you. What rock has pores in it? And it's going to say none of them.
Pumice? I think it's.
Oh, pumice. Yeah, pumice.
That's what you're thinking of.
It is a porous rock for sure.
I remember when they brought all the rocks to school, and you got to just check them out and see them. What else?
And then we're going to go to edit and paste to shown position. There we go. And now I'm going to turn that into, I'm going to convert that layer into an image material so I can move it around like an object.
It does say pores is acceptable term for that.
Oh my God. That was quick.
Holes or pores?
Notice how she didn't say that I was right. She just
No,
stated that she found
it was acceptable.
Yeah.
It's frowned upon, but it is technically acceptable
Uh-huh.
if you want to be that kind of guy. But I mean, that's up to you, Joe. You know, it's up to you. Who do you want to be? That's the question we're all really asking.
Mhm. Oh, I had to be the husband.
It's so much more fun with you on the show because I get to really pick on Joe now. That's really fun.
Oh, most of my friends figure that out real quick when Sarah's in the room. Like, oh, that's what we get to do to him. Oh, okay, we never figured that out before.
I don't know. With some of your friends, I feel like I just joined into the parade.
Oh yeah, a lot of them did it on their own, but then they add you to the arsenal, is what it is. And now they have somebody to make fun of me who knows grammar and stuff. So
Now they can get the insults grammatically accurate.
yeah.
No. That's the wrong tense, class.
But yes, I did learn from the pizza incident. I started ordering just cheese pizza, or some pizza places do half and half. So that's another thing.
Yeah. I was gonna circle back to that. We got distracted. Yeah, Joe. That was like a one-time kind of incident. It was like.
Well, apparently it works better on frozen pizzas because I still do that with your frozen pizzas when you haven't said anything yet.
Well, that's one thing though. If you pull them off like before you cook it, then it's not going to melt out the grease and everything.
Yes, you're avoiding the greasy yuck
Mhm.
with the pepperoni taste when you take it off before. That's why it's been passable.
Yeah.
So is it the grease of the pepperoni that you don't like, or is it like,
I don't like the
know.
pepperoni itself. It's just that the grease carries the taste of the pepperoni.
Yeah, but it's
Okay, so you just don't like pepperoni.
Well, she
All
doesn't. She doesn't like anything that has any kind of spice, and pepperoni leans more towards the peppery taste. So
Absolutely.
I basically can't. I basically can't eat pepper. Like I can detect pepper in things.
Mm-hmm. She used to think ketchup was spicy.
That was when I was little, though. I've come a long way since then.
Uh-huh. I was just laying the groundwork for now.
Yeah.
Yeah, my wife is like she's not a used table pepper kind of person. Like that's too spicy for her. She does like pepperoni, but that's about as spicy as she's gonna get. Which is fine. We don't have to eat the same things all the time.
Yeah.
And most of the time I can flavor it up a little bit and not have to worry about it.
Sometimes Joe will try to make something like with a new kind of sauce or something that he buys,
Yes.
and then we'll be eating it. And he'll be like, "Oh, Sarah, this is a little spicy. I didn't know it was gonna be like that." I'm like, "Oh, it's all good." I'm like crying over here.
Yeah.
My nose is running. I'm sweating, and I'm like, it's still good. I can still eat it.
I can still feel my face.
As long as it tastes good.
I'm like, thankfully, this was a one-night dinner. There's no leftovers, so you'll be okay for tomorrow.
Yeah, most of the time Joe does the leftover rule as well. Like, we eat it for like 2 days.
Mm-hmm. Or 3, depending on the dish.
But he doesn't create another dish from it. It's the same exact dish. Yep. just for multiple days.
I'm too busy planning.
Well, see, there's your problem. You need to get a little creative with it, son. Can't let it get boring.
I'm too busy planning comics with you, Fish.
I'm telling you. The stew day, though, man, that is still my favorite day, dude. That stew after I make a really good pot roast. Oh, man. That I miss that.
I could see that working out really well.
Yeah, that's good times right there. That makes a fat man happy. I'm here to tell you. I write about that in my diary. That is good times.
I don't remember. Have you ever done a con in Texas?
Yeah, I did Dallas Fan Expo. I did it with Chuck Pinot. Actually, that's when we stayed in that. That's since then. My wife goes with me everywhere. that was a rough place, and we got a dude tried to mug me. I wasn't having it, and we had a hooker beating on the door in the middle of the night trying to get in and find her pimp, and
Oh
it was
gosh.
an interesting adventure, and the funny thing is, like he got an inexpensive room within like 15 minutes of the con, and it was a really dangerous, sketchy place. Like we didn't know that before we got there, but once we got there and the room's already been paid for, what are you going to do? And it was hands down the nastiest place I've ever stayed in, and I've stayed in places with like big blood stains on the bathroom floor before, which I personally choose to believe was the beginning of a life and not the end of one, just to make it easier to sleep at night. But you know, I've stayed in some places, so I wasn't too hung up about it. But yeah, that was a doozy. That was the top of my nasty places to stay list. And I don't care to go back. I don't care to fight for that title again. You can have that one. I don't want it. Yeah, that was unpleasant. Didn't care for it.
Would Comic Palooza in Houston be a little bit closer to you than that one was?
I would have to know geography better than I do. To tell you the honest truth.
Yeah.
I mean, like I'm in Arkansas, so like whichever is closer over there, but I had no problem going to Dallas. I mean, it was a little far, but it wasn't bad at all.
What's the name of your town again? It starts with an
F. The closest town you would be able to find would be Conway, which is right above Little Rock. Like Little Rock is the big town nearby that we go to for things.
They are, baby.
Well, it's right there, city in Arkansas.
It figured you out.
Oh, I'm working backwards. Duh, I forgot.
I'm just curious because we've tried to get into Comic Palooza, but it sells out really quick, and we haven't. Well, we're gonna go do one not in Dallas, but just north of Dallas. Actually, north of Fort Worth is Denton, and we're gonna do a one-day show up there called the Denton Comic and Art Expo. It's this coming Saturday. That one I've heard good things about because it's specifically for like local indie creators and whatnot. So yeah, we've had to try to be really picky about which ones we go to, especially when paying for a table. So,
oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dallas was closer for you. I can see it already. Houston would be a little bit would be further for you.
I just got back from Maryland, so and I lost my shirt in Maryland, so it can't be worse than that.
What was it called?
That was Small Press Expo, which was a really great con, and I would have loved to have gone to it. I just would have rather not paid $200 or $400 for a table. Yeah. If I hadn't have done that part, it would have been a fun excursion. But like I didn't even make half the table in the whole weekend, and much less the hotels and the travel. But we took like 3 days to get there so that we could stop by Pennsylvania and see my buddy Eric Bennett and stuff from Facebook that we hadn't met before. And we had a beautiful trip. We thoroughly enjoyed it. Like we had a great time. It just was a very expensive trip that, didn't make the money back on. But, you live and you learn. Not every show is for, every book or every creator, and that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, I think I had heard about that one, that it was a good one to go to for creators. But yeah, I can see that. We're actually going to do one next June in Pennsylvania called Three Rivers Comic Con.
Oh, yeah.
And that one we're attaching to like a family trip. So that way I don't look at it like I'm trying to make the money back, because yeah, it's just too far. We're going to fly out there, but we're going to we're literally going to do the either do the con first the weekend and then see the family, or vice versa. Just depends on everybody's schedule. But one of our family members was the one that told us about it. Was like, yeah, like it seemed like it was really for like local creators and whatnot. So I was like, well, if we're gonna come up here and see family, we could just do that for the weekend. However it goes is however it goes. You know, if we sell some Malia issues out there, then she's a lot further, you know, up in the U.S. than she would have been, you know, from where we are now. So,
and that's my thing. Like, I'm looking for excuses to find a con in like Louisiana. So I've got a good excuse to go down there and visit some of my friends and pay for a hotel room. And, you know, if nothing else, have one place that they could all come to visit me while I'm there trying to make a buck, you know. And most of them would drive 3 hours to come see me. They're just not going to drive like 8 or 10 hours to come see me.
yeah.
And so I would love to try and find an excuse to get down there. I'm seriously, after working with T.S. Luther from Can't Be Killed Comics on TikTok and stuff, like, I'm looking for an excuse to go up to Michigan Con now. Like, we were just talking today about possibly splitting a table at like Motor City Con or something just to hang out, you know. And I got a lot of books to try and squeeze on half a table, but if I got to go hang out with him and, you know, shoot the breeze for a weekend, I would absolutely go do that, man. 100%. Like, I would drive out to go see Danny J. Quick. I don't know if I'm going to drive out to see Kyron. That's a heck of a drive.
Yeah.
I might would have to do that on like a family trip. Like, if I get to California, I will swing by to see Kyron, even if it takes me an extra day or two. But but getting me to California, that's a big deal right there.
I mean, Kyron should just use his Disney pass to get you tickets, and then
he really should just fly me out there on his private plane. But, he's worried about the weight limit. It'll fall out of the sky. It's always an excuse with Kyron. FFA regulations. Always something. Just that man. Just a heartbreaker. That's what I'm telling
you. Where does Danny J. Quick live? What state?
He's on the East Coast. I want to say he's like in one of the Carolinas or Virginias or something. Like, he's over there. I want to say he's in the Carolinas. I want to say. When
I went on their podcast, I messed with Kyron so bad because we were supposed to be talking about X-Men 97, and he introduced me, and I go, X-Men 97? I'm like, you told me I could meet Danny J. Quick. What are you talking about? And he purposely made everybody else's screen disappear, and he put me and Danny next to each other. Like, go ahead, Joe. Like, hi, Danny. How you doing, Joe? Like, all right, Kyron, I'm done. Like, that's all I came on this podcast.
That's funny. What's up, Jay, man? Good to see you, brother. Glad you can make it, man. You can't be named by name in the intro to the show and not pop in at some point and say hello. That's all I'm saying. It's still one of my favorite bits right there from that opening. Yeah, I mean, I just got to riffing on it. It was one of the rare times that he stopped in during the morning show while he was at work and commented something, and I just got to riffing on it. And then I had to make a video, so I was pulling funny bits, and that ended up in there. And it's still one of my favorite things. I really wish I had the time to go through all those back episodes and like clip out all the stupid stuff I say and all the like stupid voices and stuff, especially when it's just me talking to the comment section. Like, I get pretty stupid sometimes, and I think that would make some awesome, bloopers. But what are you gonna do?
Yeah, I was gonna say just you and Kyron alone is his own show.
Oh man, that daylight savings show where I got completely off the rails. That there's money right there. I'm here to tell you, we could probably get a TV deal off of that show. But no, Kyron out here playing hard to get. All right, let's see what some yellow background looks like on there. All right,
I like the I don't know what to call it, kind of like the 1950s style behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought it was a fun vibe. And let me see. Oh, I didn't. I don't have it. Oh, past fishy. You make me so mad sometimes.
The what?
Past fishy. I did not download. I downloaded a new tool on my laptop, and it's been really fun to play with. Like I downloaded the latest updated version, which got me a couple of new tools, and I've been playing with them, and it's really fun. And I was fixing to play with them and show them off, and then I realized I didn't download them onto this one. I downloaded them onto my laptop. So, you know, past fishy out here being lazy, making stupid mistakes, making me look bad today. That boy, I got to do something with him. I'll fire him one of these days. If it didn't work so fast, I'd have fired him a long time ago.
It's always the way.
But he eats like a horse. Oh my God.
All them pepperoni pizzas.
I'm telling you, man. And he wants to eat every day too. Like, I mean, can't be once a week. No, every day. Make glucose levels. It's always something. Well, that's supposed to be pink. That ain't supposed to be brown hair. That's pink backpack. Silly fishy.
Yeah, he loves her backpack. He put her in the other one too. The little kitty backpack.
He's cute. I don't get to draw cute stuff very often.
I was just gonna say, it looks like there is a tiny triangle there above the backpack.
Yeah, he got it.
Yeah. I just didn't realize I had covered it up on the other side.
Oh, okay, I think I get it now. I think I forgot what the backpack looked like for a second.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, she leaves it at the con when she teleports away. So I've always wondered. Well, because one of the things, it's hard to decide how to do it, and this is why I hope we get lots of issues to deal with this. But part of it was like trying to deal with like how are the adults dealing with the fact that she's actually gone in the real world, you know? Because I think even in the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon, they played with that to where when they finally came back, it's like no time had passed. So it's kind of a safe way to do it. But I was like, well, what if we make it to where the adults actually realize she's gone?
Yeah.
And like there's a missing
We can't
person.
really take that route anyway because her friends are playing in the real world.
Yeah.
Interacting with her.
But since we had the whole thing with the backpack being left behind, I was like, I wonder if I should use that later because, like, do the cops have it? Like, is it evidence now?
Hey,
it's the main focus on the Dateline episode about where did she go.
Yeah, just go, just shows the kitty backpack. This was all that was left behind when young Malia Marinelli went missing.
She was just having fun at the con like any other kid. Running around thinking it was a wonderful day, not realizing disaster was on the horizon. Oh, those shows are so creepy. I don't know how people watch that stuff all day.
I think, see, again, where's Kyron? I feel like it was a meme he shared, but there was a meme that showed me, was it me watching a horror movie? Yeah, me watching a horror movie showed the person all scared, and then me watching one of those Dateline episodes, and they're just looking all interested. Like,
yeah, that's, oh man, my I just call her my daughter, but it's my oldest son's wife. Her mom watches those shows all day long and then lives by herself. So she watches those all day long until it's time to go to bed. And then she's absolutely terrified that there is 100% somebody trying to get into her car outside. There's somebody trying to break in and kill her. There's always somebody trying to kill her. And like, you know, if you didn't watch the scary murder shows every single day, you know, maybe you wouldn't be quite so scared. Just throwing it out there.
That's what you do. Have you tried cartoons?
I'm saying it's not so scary if you're watching the cartoons. I ain't never gone to bed afraid SpongeBob was gonna get me. Just throwing it out there, you know, just as an option. But you know, people gonna do what they gonna do.
Yeah, they got rid of Boomerang, but they replaced it with another like online service with the same cartoons. I forget what it's called.
Oh man, there was a Roku channel that was so awesome. It was like the Nerds channel or something, and turns out it was just made by this dude that was a fireman, and he was paying for it out of his own pocket, and he was putting all of these different old shows on there. There were so many channels on this little network of like superheroes, and it would be all the different Super Friends and Justice Leagues, and there was a Spider-Man channel that was all Spidey and his amazing friends, and the 60s Spider-Man and the 90s Spider-Man. And I'm sure a lot of this stuff wasn't necessarily legal, because like he had stuff that I know for a fact isn't up to just purchase legally anywhere. Like he had the old school Marvel cartoons on there, with the limited like Jack Kirby animation and stuff. Like those aren't available anywhere. That's not a thing you can just do. And so I don't think some of it was legal, but it was the best freaking channel to watch. And then all of a sudden he just quit because it was too expensive for him to keep doing it by himself. And I totally get it. I don't know how he did it that long as it was. But all right, pink, blue, purple, green. That's what we need.
It's called Me TV Tunes. That's where it is now. That's where
Oh
they have
yeah.
all the classic stuff.
Yeah, Me TV is one of those extra channels I get over the air on the local station too. That Me TV is pretty good. It has like lots of old Andy Griffith and stuff on it. All right. Pink 4-sided, blue 6-sided, purple 8-sided, green 10-sided, and I guess we could do yellow for that and leave that one reddish. I may take it redder. I'm thinking marshmallows probably aren't going to be that overly saturated. So that's my thought process for right now. And we could change it, because this is basically just going to be flats anyway. And
I just realized you're still good because it's 10 instead of
9. I do have some things I got to get done tonight.
Okay.
I work really early in the morning.
look at you. Look at you. I get up 5 o'clock every day. You see me complaining? Nah.
No, that is us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get up at 5 to make sure she's at her computer by 6. So.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you.
I should duck out.
Okay.
It was nice meeting you, Fish.
It was an absolute pleasure. This is the most fun I've had on a Joe stream in a long time. So you absolutely need to come back, because it makes it a whole lot more fun to get to play with you too. And so absolutely, anytime.
All right. I will see you another time.
Right.
I'm going to disappear like a ninja. I'm going to try to stay out of the camera as I go.
Watch out.
Oh, stop. Okay, we'll just do our best.
Pocket sand.
You're scaring the cats.
Don't worry about the background noise. I'm just running into stuff.
Luckily, it was nothing important. It was just a china cabinet. That's all. All right, let's see. We'll do a little more purpley in there for some other berry flavored rings. And go a little darker purple. We'll get down into the Danny J. Quick purples over here.
I know that Ace Blade purple.
Yeah, because I'm also trying to think like, well, if it's mixed with the oats, it's going to be a little grayed down and desaturated. Right? Way overthinking it. And then we got to go a little blue, because that's not even natural, and nothing would be that color. But they like to color our food that and make us think it's normal. It's for the blueberries. They're purple. No, it's got blue right in the name.
It's only because you've been on the internet long enough to know that people would call you out on that about the cereal.
Oh yeah. All right, let's see. Now Now I got to figure out what colors am I going to use where to fill in some of these other gaps so they're not right matchy next to each other. And running out of room. There we go. We'll put one of those purples under there. Yeah, that looks pretty good, actually. I'd buy a box of that.
No, it's coming out really good.
I feel like I chipped my teeth on those marshmallows. They seem a little sharp for marshmallows, but
I let them sit in the milk long enough so they soften.
let the colors bleed out and let them get all soft. And, yeah,
this is not the type this is not the type of cereal you eat by the handful. You need milk.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, I was gonna ask you for a minute there, like, what kind of cereal are we talking here? And then I realized it had O's in the name, and because I was originally thinking, like, is this like those like Captain Crunch knockoffs that are gonna rip the roof of your mouth up, or
No,
are we doing flakes or checks or the little puffed oats, which I don't think would be the right choice, but. Did you ever watch that show with what was her name? I want to say it was the actress from Back to the Future. She played a cartoonist and
with Leah Thompson?
Yeah, I want to say it was. And she played a cartoonist and stuff, had this blonde dude that she shared a little studio with. She had like she had a strip about a girl that was very reminiscent to the.
Is it Caroline in the City?
That's the show. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they had an episode of that where she was getting her own cereal, and she was super excited about it, and her character was going to be on the box and everything. And then when it came time and they were showing her the cereal, it was a puffed oat cereal. And she was like, but that looks like, a particular thing that, makes ladies so special. And she felt uncomfortable with her female character being on, the mascot on a box of cereal that looked like these things. And like she's trying not to say it for the longest time and trying to get it across. And then she finally whispers it to somebody and everybody freaks out. And then they changed it to Godios or something. And because somebody in the focus group, she kept hoping somebody in the focus group would notice it and nobody did. And then they ended up changing it and she lost her shot. But I have never been able to get that thought out of my head ever since that they look like that. I've only eaten them a few times since then, actually, because that thought is stuck in my head now.
Well, that's funny. Yeah, I just always think about C-3POs. That's what the first cereal I think of when I think 80s cereal based on characters and definitely O's and. I don't know. Maybe O's are the easiest thing to make cereal-wise. I don't know. Just seems like the majority of the.
It usually seems to be an O, or it seems to be like a Captain Crunch knockoff. Because like Batman was like, oh, the buttery cereal. It was just bat-shaped Captain Crunch ripping up your mouth. Like it was. They weren't fooling nobody. I don't know who they thought they was fooling, but they wasn't fooling me. It was a rough mouthful. It tasted good, but it hurt. I don't think your breakfast should hurt that bad. I don't think you should have to work that hard for it.
Yeah.
That's my 2 cents on it. All right.
They were getting the Nintendo cereal had the two sides of the box of Zelda on one side and Mario on the other. That was their innovation.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm making those grapes. I'm not making those blueberries. Duh.
That's because Jeff got you thinking about all the fruit. So
yeah.
that's how good it looked.
got me all off track. Okay, so I'm gonna make this a raspberry then, so that kind of splits up those purple grapes a little bit, changes up that color a little, and put that in there. And I need to get some green for up yonder ways. Do-ka-do-ka-do, do-ka-do-ka-do,
Like
do-ka-do-ka-do.
Willy Wonka snozzberry. Like, what's a snozzberry?
Oh man, I tell you, making up names for things is so much fun, but it's also like, to me, it ends up kind of becoming a burden because my attention to detail self like needs to get it right every time. So I'm constantly like going back and looking through old books and stuff to see, what did I call this? How tall did I say he was in that one? What address did he live at? Because I need to put that on the front of the house. Like, I'm
Mhm.
constantly going back. I To the point I keep copies of like all of my Green Zone books and stuff by my chair. So while I'm working, I can look through them and see if I mess something up, or I was pulling them out the whole time I was working on the script for issue 4, which will be coming out to my Patreon backers at Christmas time. So now's the time to subscribe for just $10 a month. Get a new book shipped to your house every month. Just throwing it out there for the
Yeah, no,
millions of fans watching.
that stuff is important. People catch that and call out creators all the time. It's like, why didn't you remember that? Like the Simpsons episode where Xena was answering the crowd's questions, and she didn't. She was like, a wizard did it. Like, but also an episode, a wizard. It's like,
Yeah. And I'm the kind of fan that notices those things. Like, well, wait a minute. In that episode, you said that this, was powered by such and such, and now you've got it powered by this. And like, I notice those things. So I want to get them right when it's my stuff. I want to do that. And like when I was making the source book for Green Zone and stuff, like I put lots of little stuff in the background notes of people's characters. So like if you really get in there and delve around in it, you can, if you really go in there and pay attention, you can find little secrets in there about, like, at one point it tells you Virgil only went to school for so long because the school burned down. And, if you look around in the handbook enough, you might see hints at who might have burned down the school. And, they went there right up until the date that it burned down. And like, I like putting that stuff in there. If you're the type of person that likes to dig around in the handbook and really pay attention to things, I want to put little things in there for you to find. And, and if you're not, then you can just read it and enjoy it and go on about your business. Or you can read it and hate it for all I care. But
I say Jesse's here. He's joining us from Japan. He's out there for like 3 weeks.
what's up, Jesse from Japan? Konnichiwa.
It's he's just amazed that I'm still awake.
Yeah, my wife's going to be put out with me because she's like, it's time to go to bed. But, I'm like, I'm so close. I'm so close. Let's see.
Sarah, do you still want the insert of the troll toy?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, I said, do you still want the insert that says get the exclusive troll figure?
I mean, I think it was a good idea.
Yeah, we can get it in there.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not going to do that yet. I'm going to grab it and move it over here. And then move it over here. And we'll inspect it. That looks pretty.
It's lunchtime where Jesse is. No wonder.
Oh my goodness, poor Jesse. Have yourself some ramen or bento bowl or whatever, and kick your feet up for a second and watch some interweb stories as we sit
Oh, he
here and
does.
work on some covers.
He doesn't. He doesn't.
Luring him into a deep, deep sleep.
All right, then stay asleep. Then stop talking.
All right.
I was gonna say he doesn't ever post anything. The only reason I get to see anything that they do out there is because his wife posts it. So,
Look at you, Jesse. Come on now. You need to get active on the social medias.
nah,
How are we going to know what you're up to?
he'll do the dramatic, like him looking out the plane window shot and stuff like that. But that's all you get from him.
Jesse.
You get pensive Jesse, contemplating life while looking out the plane window.
I will get a better copy of that later, but for right now, it'll be a good placeholder.
Oh yeah, I have the big file for that if you need it.
Yeah, that would be best, but for right now, it'll work. And
That's a good question. Now we're talking about. Have you ever done shirts? Offered shirts on any of your Kickstarters?
Yep. I've got them as add-ons on this one. I don't think I did a tier with t-shirts this time. I think I just left them as add-ons this time. But I've been doing my own shirts. Like I just bought like a 250-inch roll, I think, of DTF prints of like all of the stuff that I needed prints of. And I've got Alice Lost in Wonderland. I've got Green Zone. I've got the Mighty Caw. All of them. I even did some with just my logo on them. And I want to start offering T-shirts like in my TikTok shop. The problem is there's a 3-day turnover for the TikTok shop. You got to have stuff out in, which means I have to have a stockpile of at least like 2 shirts of various sizes on hand so that I could press them and then order another one to replace it and it can get in and stuff. Like I can't guarantee I can get an order from you for a t-shirt, place the order today and get the t-shirt in enough time to press it and get it in the mail to you within that 3-day window. Because if something happens along the way, then I'm going to get dinged and I can't afford that to the shop. So I haven't done it yet. I want to do it, but I haven't done it yet. And so right now they're just on the TikTok shop, or they're just on the Kickstarters. But
I'm just curious what your experience has been like, because some people have told me to stay away from shirts because people will order the wrong size, and then you got to decide what to do. Like you're going to replace it, or
I don't like doing the drop ship shirts. I've never been happy with those. This is we're gonna take this one full size. Hold on, give me a second here. Let me find where'd the controls go. I lost where the controls is at. They moved everything on me over here. They just changed it all up on me every which way. And okay, wait a second. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna turn that off for a second. Okay. I've never been happy with the dropship shirts, even when they show that they're going to do really cool stuff, like all over prints and stuff that look really cool. They always, everything I've gotten has either been like the wrong size or kind of shoddy craftsmanship, or like I ordered a bunch of my own merchandise off of my Teespring store, and like some of them were too small, some of them were a little too big, a couple of them were ladies shirts for no reason and had like really wide collars and were really short, and it's just really inconsistent. And then a lot of the times it's shirts that aren't the kind of quality that I'd want to wear every day, much less the prints aren't going to last real long, or half the print washes out, when you wash it the first time. And I don't like that. I've been pretty happy with the DTF prints. Like I made a bunch of these shirts for myself, and I literally wear these things every single day. And like after nearly a year now, I've had a couple of them peel up a little bit around the sides, but for the most part, they're all great. And I wear these shirts more than anybody else is going to wear them. Nobody else is going to wear them as much as I do.
Mhm.
And because I really wanted to put them to the test and see what it was like before I started offering them. And I've been pretty happy with them. And so I can buy quality shirts from like Jiffy Shirts or something for $5 or so. And the bigger I order sheets in of DTF prints, I can get those DTF prints down to, $2 or $3 a piece, around in that range. So it makes it affordable enough for it to be worth my time to like sell a shirt for $30 on a Kickstarter and be able to get the shirt made for $10 and ship it out. That works out well enough to be worth my time and heating up the office and doing the pressing and everything myself. And it's it's worked out pretty good so far. I haven't I haven't made a giant mistake yet, except the one time I ended up pressing one of the prints I needed on a shirt for myself, and then I was one short for the Kickstarter. But luckily, one of the guys that ordered the shirt was a good friend of mine, and I hit him up, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that other design's awesome. I take that." So I had like an extra one of these flying caw shirts designs instead of the walking caw that he had ordered, and it's basically an upgrade. So that worked out.
Mhm.
Um, Now I've got a whole bunch of them in, so it shouldn't be an issue again for a while. But uh, of course, I've already got a T-shirt press that my wife had bought when we were doing T-shirts for our big family trip to Colorado for Christmas. So it doesn't really cost me anything else to do it. If I had to buy a $250 press to do it, I probably would have issue with it.
Hmm.
But you know, for
Yeah, because
me, it's not bad.
we've got a pretty good company here in town that helps us out when we have the shop. And I've thought about just simply doing the Malia shirt the way she wears it, just the black shirt, D20, and
Hmm.
that's it. We actually have one that exists that a friend of ours, her daughter cosplayed Malia for us for a while. And then the same happened again with another friend. And so even that one, I mean, wasn't used a lot, but it's still holding up pretty good from that print shop here in town, and they're reasonable. So I was just curious because yeah, some people are like, no, the
Oh, and I
people.
totally get it because
Yeah.
like a lot of the like print on demand stuff just comes out in shady quality, or they send out bad stuff, or you know it's not super accurate to the sizes that it's supposed to be, which is part of why I like getting better quality shirts, because then a medium's going to be a medium and a triple extra large is going to be a triple extra large, and you have a much better idea what to shoot for. Like, so much of the t-shirts I've ordered off of other Kickstarters, like even if it says it goes big enough for me to order one, they usually end up being way too small. Like, it said it was a 5X, but it's actually more of a 3X. And, that looks like a sausage casing on me, and that's not going to work. And so I I like this, and I've made a point on the last couple of Kickstarters to make a point of saying that I'm doing these shirts myself and making sure that it's quality stuff that I'd want to wear, and uh, and I wear them every day just as a proof of concept to make sure that it works.
Hmm.
But anyhow, I got to be honest, I'm running out of gas, so
No,
I
that's great.
think I'm gonna have to stop here because I hear my wife getting ready for bed, and if I try and sneak in there after she's gone to bed, I'm gonna end up causing a calamity. So
Yeah, no worries. Yeah,
we're pretty much there. I mean, it's just the final colors and stuff now. You get me that logo for the shirt, and I'll do the finishing touches on here, and it should be pretty cool. I got an idea for some texturing on the background with some dot patterns and stuff to make it look retro and whatnot. Um, Curious question: Do you want a pristine cereal box, or do you want like some scuffed up edges, like it's been
hmm.
through some shipping? Just open question. And I need to put the troll toy on the inside. part too, and I'm gonna put like, I'm gonna name off the marshmallow dice and stuff, and put all the cereal logo stuff on there and
Mm.
all that. There's still lots of finicky stuff to do, but honestly, the whole graphic design aspect of figuring out the fonts is not as much fun to watch on art streams as it is watching me draw it.
Yeah.
So
Hey, Sarah, did you hear the question? Do you want the cereal box to be pristine or to look like it's been through some shipping and a little worn?
Professional. Let me think. It's a hard choice.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of leaning towards worn just because it might look more authentic. Because I feel like I've seen other people do the cereal box thing, but they always go for the pristine look. So it doesn't.
Like that's the thing to me when they do the like action figure card covers. It's usually so clean that it makes it not look like a card to me. It makes it look like the image on the screen of a card, but not the printed version you would get at the store, because that gets a little dinged and a little bit of imperfections along the way. But
I think that makes sense.
Yeah, let's go with the scuffed up version. I think it'll look better.
All right, and that'll be on top of everything else. So if you don't like it, I can take that off. Won't be a big deal. All right, so I'll continue working on it on my own and send y'all some images soon of updates, and we'll get that wrapped up. I'm excited to see this one done. I'm excited to get a copy of this one. I would say to hang on the wall, but I've already had to take down a whole bunch of stuff off the wall to make room for new books of my own. I'm pretty soon I'm going to have to start taking my own books off the wall to make room for other books. I might have to start
a bigger
picking and choosing. Man, I'm here to tell you, when our youngest moves out, I think I'm going to take that garage back and turn that back into my office, just because there's plenty of room. I could put a whole screen printing press in there if I wanted to. And I'm really trying to find an excuse to buy a screen printing press, because I want to make custom printed Gemini mailers. I don't know why, but I got it stuck in my head. And I've come up with all these different ideas for designs, like mixtapes and VHS tapes and like Game Boys and stuff, where like you can incorporate the shipping label into the design, so it's like the label on the VHS tape or whatever, and then have room to like put in the name of the character. Like I had an idea, if I did the Game Boy design, I would put the shipping label in the screen, and then when you flip it over on the other side, I would make stickers to go on the cartridge that tell you what game is in there. And I could get little like shipping address labels to print through my thermal printer and make little Game Boy labels to just stick on there perfectly. And that would be so much fun. And I want to do it, but I don't really have an excuse to buy a screen print press. So it's been a stretch goal on like my last 3 campaigns, and I haven't hit it yet.
I was going to say, so far we've had 3 Mighties. We've had the Mighty Caw, the Mighty Chiron, and this is the Mighty Thor.
What's up, Mighty Thor?
Oh yeah, Jesse. I was wondering if Jesse was still there. Yeah, he did the big rubber stamp on his Gemini mailers.
I've looked into getting big rubber stamps made, and it's so expensive when you get to a big size that I'm like, my ADHD, I could do that brain is like, oh, I'm not going to pay $200 for that stamp. I can make it. And I tried making like a linoleum print stamp of the design for the video game cartridge that I wanted to do on the Gemini mailer. It did not come up to my standards. And I tried I wasted a lot of money trying to cheap out and buy the cheapest materials I could afford to try and make it work, rather than buying the stuff that I probably should have bought in the beginning. But it didn't come out to my standards, and I realized it's going to take a little more practice to do it that way than I have put into it so far. But I'm like, I do know how to screen print. I could do that right first time. And then I could also like do t-shirts and stuff. And I could do all over print t-shirts with a screen printer that actually look nice and are going to wear good and be quality t-shirts and things. And just there's lots of cool stuff that I could do. But that's all if, when, ands, buts. Like, that's in a magical land when I have lots of time to do lots of extra projects
Uh-huh.
and I'm not busy all day drawing comic books. So, all right, I'd be interested to know how big it is and where you got it from. I'm asking, man, how big it is. I'd be interested in knowing how big your rubber stamp is and where you got it from for that price. Because, like, for a long time I was looking for a really big one to put on my paper bags that I take to cons with me when people buy a lot of stuff so they can put it in there. I ended up running it through my printer, which, yeah, it kind of works okay. Like, it got my logo on there, but it wants to jam up because they're paper bags. They're not really designed to go through a printer real easy. And it works, but not great. I would rather, like, print them and make them look nice.
Mhm.
Or use a big cool stamp if I could get one that wasn't, crazy expensive. But anyway, we're going to sit here and keep chatting for another 3 hours if I don't cut this off, because we just get along and we're going to keep talking. So before we go, for the people that are still up late at night watching the show, where can they go check out the book again? It is www.maliamayhem.com.
Mm-hmm.
Let me double check.
Just hit 151 tonight, so thank you too.
All right, good deal. Get that shipped out, get that sent out there. And just for giggles, I'm going to check and see what my Kickstarter did. Oh, look at that. We had $382. It doesn't help that I messed up originally and swapped the shipping costs on the second issue. I switched the foreign and domestic shipping costs.
Oh.
So it was like $30 to mail it to the US and $7 to mail it to Singapore.
Oops.
And luckily only 2 people backed on that level. And my buddy Brad hit me up and was like, "Hey, is this really supposed to be $30 for shipping?" I was like, "Oh no." I thought I'd done it to all of them, but it was just the one tier. But it explains why it was so slow today, because everybody thought I was trying to rip them off on shipping. So thank you to the 15 people that have backed. I appreciate you ever so much. And to the people that tried to back earlier and thought I was trying to rip you off for $30 on shipping, I do dearly apologize. It was an accident. I have since fixed it. And now the physical tier right here, this is a brand new tier that I rebuilt and ships anywhere, but the prices are correct now. So you can get it for what it's supposed to be. And you can also get single character or full pinups like I'm doing for Joe here. They're available. There's live art that I did on the Crucible story in this book. There's 7 pages of inked art from that I inked live on my art stream. There's the live inks from the Barbarian homage from Caw. There's the 2 variant covers I did for Green Zone 2 and 3, the Police Academy 2 variant cover, the Miami Vice variant cover for issue 3. Those are available. T-shirts, all the back order books, the mini comics, the acrylic standees that are on their way to me now that I can't wait to get my hands on and play with and take pictures of and put on my desk. Go, pew, pew, pew. Oh, I'm going to get you. I'm going to have so much fun. Did you see me playing with my toys? No, sir. Good. So anyway, all that cool stuff is available. It's up for grabs. You can get digital and physical catch-up tiers. If you haven't read The Mighty Caw and you want to know more about what's going on, to know more about this little story that starts in this issue of Fishtails, you can do that. There's one for Green Zone 2. You can get both of the issues 1 and 2 of Fishtails if you've missed it. You can add any of the other books on as an add-on. If you're one of my beloved Kickstarter backers that didn't want to go over to BackerKit, you can absolutely get the first issue of Alice now and catch up on that.
That was me.
So everything is there and available. Thank you guys for checking it out. Thank you for being here, Joe. Is there anything else you'd like to share before we head out?
Nope, I think we're good, sir. The cover looks great as usual.
All right. Thank you. If I can figure out what screen my mouse is on, there we go. All right. Thank you guys for showing up and showing out. Thank you guys for backing, following Malia Mayhem, and we will see y'all next time.